Hello, I'm NovaSC, and I'm going to bring you a Protoss versus Zerg. I'm Protoss in the top right hand corner. And my opponent, well, let's use the name for this, Alcena, or Alcina, various pronunciations, but these are the letters involved, so there you go. I'm bringing this game in particular because various circumstances arise which entertained the fuck out of me and probably aren't actually that funny in reality, but I'll talk you through the 2 or 3 events as they arrive. But for now, we're gonna have to marvel at how cute this little wall off is, and I did it without thinking. Can't remember the last time I've actually walled off that area. I actually saw White Rod do that on his stream because I don't know, he's like old and stuff, so he does old things like walling off. I'm going to move out with my probe. I'm the random player in this, so I don't need to be scouting this early, but I guess I would. I am anyway, because I'm being extra cautious. The reason these walls aren't so common anymore is because they leave the buildings vulnerable to things, to aggression, when you could just be walling off like this, making a little sim city, and Mothership Core is easily enough to defend you, usually, unless you're against speed lane openings, which are fairly uncommon on one base, though absolutely possible. Even in that situation though, you can sort of shit yourself and build a temporary wall just for that off chance. Just as with the second and third gateways, you can usually wall off in time. So I'm seeing this. I know that he hasn't scattered me, so I'm going to move this probe down. This is event number 1, which entertained me. So now that was to force 1 drone out of him to follow the probe around, wasting a bit of mining time. But then he definitely thinks I'm cannoning and brings 4 more. So I'm definitely winning on the income front. Almost doubling his income at the moment because he's taken 5 drones off mining, I think. 1, 2. Oh, I'm really good at cannon. Yeah, yes, definitely 5. In addition to that hatch being built, so that did hurt his income to begin with. Sending that probe after a successful mission of making him think bad things are going to happen when they're not actually happening, therefore making a bad thing happen. Perfect sense. I'm beginning with a zealot, a single gas. If I was a Zerg looking at this, I would expect some sort of aggression out of my opponent because this means a lot of minerals. If I'm only going for 1 gas, if I haven't expanded and I'm only on 1 gas, that would mean a lot of minerals. With a lot of minerals, I can either expand really fast or attack with zealots, or both. So if I was a Zerg and didn't see an expansion at this point, I'd definitely expect some sort of aggression. Unfortunately, he just hasn't spotted the expansion yet. And I'm going to be going for aggression anyway. Let's just spoil that. Another definite tell is to see the chrono boost on that, but he hasn't spotted it. He hasn't actually scattered very much at all. And that's the reason that probe there was so good at mind gaming my opponent, was because he didn't scatter a drone, didn't see that I didn't have a forge. So I'm getting that wall off with the second and third gateways, and these are going to be used for the poke that will definitely follow. Whether I want to all in with that is up to me when I get to that point. If I see I can do significant damage, I might choose to all in by throwing down a couple more gates. And that's a nice little wall off of only a few buildings. And the probe, just to make it complete. Looks so beautiful. Looking at units, this is the point where Zerg starts to jump ahead, maybe even throw down a 3rd patch. In the early game, because of chrono boost, because of my opponent throwing down hatcheries and spawning pools, I'm going to be slightly ahead in probes, but then he'll quickly catch up as his unholy Zerg production kicks him. Now he's scouting a bit better. He's scouting expansion timings. He's scouting the probes which move out. Quite frustrating. I know this has been spotted, so I'm going to probably have to send that back. No point setting down any pylons for the following push. Having a probe spotted like this is even more annoying, as it sort of gives away that you're going to go for a poke, some sort of warp in, or you're at least scouting for some timing, which means you're going to make a big decision anytime soon. All of these important things, yeah. So the way I like to do these pokes is I throw down a forge, get lots of sentries, and while I'm doing this attack I'll be upgrading and possibly expanding whatever I feel like, whatever floats my boat at that time. Whatever floats my boat. Zergling going unspotted. He's going to be able to check if there's a third going down, which is quite nice of him. I would have liked to have checked around this area. That was a mistake from me. If you hear me sniffling at all, that's just because of a cold. Unrelated fact there. And luckily this probe's managed to sneak around this time. Now I'm going to be able to throw down a proxy pylon. What I like to do, I don't know why I do this. I do this quite a lot in most games. I place a nicely hidden one, which scouts don't often walk past. And then I throw one down in a really obvious position, so he thinks, that's the one I'm walking in from. Dear. He's forced out, this has forced out a huge amount of Zerglings, like, let's see how many, 20, oh my goodness. 30 Zerglings he made, and he's producing even more at this point. So, after producing, I think just 4 sentries and only a couple zealots, I've returned home, happily given up for just a sentry or 2 zealots there, and yeah, forced out a lot of Zerglings which could have been drones, so I'm going to be ahead in the income at this point, and even in workers almost, which is amazing at this point in the game. And I have lots of energy on these sentries, so I'm going to get lots of scouting information. It worked on this occasion. This is event number 2. he didn't suspect that there was 2 pylons. What the fuck? And I'm getting my upgrades. My next tech of choice will be a humble Twilight Council. Watch the force field. Still going to get a few Zerglings, and can easily chase these down. I don't think these Zerglings are going to get much done. Luckily I have a pylon here, so I'm going to scout these procs going down. I reckon my opponent's base, while this is all going down, he's getting a couple, maybe one? Did he get one? I think he might have gotten one worker kill. Or maybe it was a scout anyway. Yeah, I was midway through a sentence, wasn't I? Yeah, well, back home he's just going for roaches. He's going into hydras in case I have some sort of Stargate tech planned, or I continue heavily with the gateway production. Hydra's just a really nice thing to produce at this point in the game. At least having the Hydra den is really helpful, just in case, I don't know, void rays pop up. If you suddenly see a big blink stalker all in, it's nice to have the option to produce some Hydras. Very good. Pretty much a useless cannon, but I'm just being extra cautious at this point because I think I'm slightly ahead. I like to throw away my lead by making pointless buildings when I'm slightly ahead. So that's a nice thing about me. I'm nice to my opponents, I give them a fighting chance. Even though I'm not winning, really. He's knocking down the rocks to get ready to take a 4th. Many roaches coming out, so he's prepared for little pokes from me, he's prepared for pressure. But big all-ins he might not be as strong against. Overseer's coming in too. I assume he's scattered the Twilight Council and thinks there might be the chance of DTs. If I was the Zerg, I probably wouldn't even be building Overseers at this point. Maybe a Spore or 2, but or is he going to use it to scout? That would make more sense. Is he using it as a scout? I don't see any dots for an Overseer. Yeah, that's a bit. He loves his Overseers, doesn't he? And now I'm going in for my push. Blink's finished up. Plus 2's almost finished up. I was a bit late starting, I think, so I'm not waiting for it. Decent Link Micro, still losing a couple. That's the few that I could have easily have saved there, but yeah, I can't expect me to be perfect at this. Poking in as much as I can. Back home, yes, still upgrading. Whopping more stalkers. I've been rallying some probes. Oh, I missed the thing! I missed another thing. I missed another event, which was exciting. Basically what happened was as I was moving out, I had a probe moving down to take this expansion, and just got into the right position to expand. Oh, I'll start this afterwards. What's it called, going down? I'm trying my best to defend this, to push in here, but he's defending a bit too well. I'm using minimalist force fields just to push Hydras back. It doesn't really work against Hydras because their range is too long. Hydra's very good against a lot of force fields. Roaches not so much. Still pushing in here. Trying to focus down a few units. Whopping in a few more units at the back. Bit of good multitasking there actually. Oh, losing a stalker to drones isn't nice actually. In these little scrappy fights, the stalkers are very good. Not very nice to miss micro like that though. Losing way too many, unfortunately, but I am now expanding. Like I said before, when I moved out, I brought down a probe as if I was expanding, and he saw it. But I didn't expand and I made loads of stalkers. So that might have been why that caught him off guard slightly. But now I'm actually expanding anyway because I know I can't do much more aggression here. I think I did quite a bit of damage. 22... What? 22 workers have gone down for him. That was a really good push by me. He probably made a mistake in engaging with his workers there because that really did hurt him. I doubt I would have been able to snipe his hatchery in that time that it took for him to reinforce, so yeah, maybe a bit too trigger happy with the drone pulls. That's a lot of hydras. I don't have very many stalkers. I'm just producing just enough stalkers to put some pressure on. I'm not actually going full out with this. Back home I'm going for Twin Pillar Archives. I'm adding on assimilators. A few stalkers because I'm just scared that he might push into me. Good thing that he's not though, because the warping potential at the moment I have might be able to prevent attacks from doing that much damage to me economically, even if he does break through. Just trying my best to snipe all these expansions. That was a really nice one. His units are way out of position. I think he was still thinking I was on 3 bases for a second. I don't know why he had his army there. It would have been much better to have his army like here or somewhere like this so that he could defend both these areas. Trying to be as annoying as possible. Making quite a few stalkers because zealots and sentry is not going to be that useful against the hydras at this point. I need to start teching up though, so I'm getting storm, high templar, continuing those upgrades. Plus attack is all that's really important for stalkers, and high templar can't even. They're not going to do very well in an engagement anyway if they're being attacked, so there's no point really upgrading their 40 shield or armor at this point. And Archons don't have any armor either, so next upgrade of choice will be shields. Shields is a very good upgrade, very underrated in my opinion. Moving into a 4th. So I'm knocking down these rocks just so that I can defend that a little bit more easily. My opponent has many hydras. 16 exactly, that's a really nice number. And he's upgrading well. I think I'm quite a bit ahead of him though with the +3 attack before he's even finished a 2-2. So he's not looking too good on that front actually. Taking up to Lair, a bit late in my opinion. I mean up to Hive. That's a bit late in my opinion, 16, almost 18 minutes. That's going to be done. He could really be doing with some higher tech units, but I guess because of all this aggression he hasn't had a chance to tech up. Yeah, I doubt he scouted that 4th that I've taken there. Ooh, that's really nice storm. That second one, not so much. I have the ability to time warp and then storm, so I'm really going to be looking for that here. 2 storms, very nice ones there. Weakening the roaches. Storm's surprisingly good against roaches because they come up so much. That's a nice one on top of the time warp there. Unfortunately my time tower are out of energy, so I'm going to have to give those all up. But I'm going to try and fight my best. Use the meat shield of a morphing Archon to try and do a bit more damage, but it does help, allows me to kill off 3 or so more roaches than I would have otherwise. His army's looking a bit battered. Quite dangerous attacking to me here, even though he does seem to have a superior army, I think. Yeah, he has a superior army, but I'm going to have a nice concave here. I'm going to have cannons, I'm going to have lots of warpins available to me. Does he know? Does he still not know about this space? He doesn't know about the 4th! Technically he doesn't know about the 3rd, but I'm pretty sure he'd assume that. If he knew I had a 4th, he'd definitely be wanting to take a 5th at this point. He can easily do it. Warp Prism moving on in. I got a robotics facility just for this warp prism. Making a few zealots. I'm pinned back at the moment. I don't want to be pinned back for much longer, so I'm going to warp in some zealots while I push forward to try and get into that prime position next to his 4th, so that I might be able to poke into it a little bit. More storms available? Almost more storms available. So let's get taking out quite a few links. Really nice trades for them. Maybe a queen. Fighting it head on against roaches is actually quite a nice thing to do. It's actually going to take a couple out, but still it wasn't quite enough to defend the whole army. And unfortunately, it made me spoil quite a few units. Blinding Clan's going to just push my stalkers closer to his hatchery that I'm trying to kill anyway. Storms on the advancing units. And recall out. Almost! Almost. Luckily they have blinks, so the recall was sort of pointless anyway, but I don't know. For some reason I deemed it necessary. Maybe I thought I had High Templar in my army when I actually didn't. With that robotics facility I got the Warp Prism from. Starting to produce some Immortals now, because I know he's still fairly roach heavy. They're going to be quite useful. Lots of Queens up here. This is a really nice idea actually. Because he knows I'm likely to move in with those with that Warp Prism again, so Queens are very good against sniping those. Though he's moved them all down again. Binding Clouds, Storms. He's pushing in. He has a lot more army than me, but I'm going to have a big advantage here of the cannon, the Storms against the massive clumped army there. And it could have gone a lot better this attack for him. And he could have sniped that. What on earth? I would have, if I was him, I'd definitely leave like 100 behind to snipe that off because I only had 35 more HP. Moving into a 5th, that's a good choice. Unfortunately, lost a huge amount of his army there. And I'm moving into a 5th as well. A bit risky because this is going to be really hard for me to defend. Luckily, I know that I just killed most of his army, so I'm going to be able to knock these rocks down. He's getting more queens. He's got a lot of queens, actually. How many queens has he got? 5 queens? Oh, that's not too many. 5, 1 per base, that's nice. Did you make another one? 7! Okay, I guess he's looking for these defensively, maybe. 2-2 finished. He's really sloppy on his upgrades. He's rejecting these quite a lot. I've been at 3 attack for a long time. Got my +1 shields as well. Now I'm working on armor just because I might as well. Making a sort of wall, a semi-wall. I don't want to spend all the resources walling that whole thing off, and that will take a lot of APM as well. A lot. Got quite a few high 10 +6. Seems like a good number. Against how many Hydras he has, that's probably wise. Binding Cloud. I don't know why he has. I don't know how much I like Vipers. Like the Binding Cloud is really good against the blink, but they can blink out of the Binding Cloud. It's much better against armies with Colossus in my opinion. He really wants to be having Ultralisks or something, or Broodlords. That's a good choice. Yeah, Broodlord's very good against this composition, but he has to be careful to prevent the Stalkers from just blinking underneath them. Really good positioning is needed, I think. Warp in from the back here with DTs, making Broodlords with an Overseer. That's going to be easily be able to clean up all the Zealots and DTs. But I'm warping in there because they can't even shoot up. But while that's all going on, I'm taking out this 5th. And with this kill, I'm actually ahead in bases. This is not a situation he wants to be in. High Templar hugely beneficial in these situations where they're pushing up ramps into the unknown. The Broodlord's going to prove to be very good defensively, killing off a High Templar from range. I'm sticking around a bit too long. I don't really need to be engaging here. The good thing I did, because I got some free Vipers. Yeah, I don't think that was worth it though. I think I lost quite a few units. But meanwhile, DCs and Zealots have been warping in, have killed the Hive. In response, he's only on hatchery tech. Oh, he hasn't made a lair straight away, and I may have killed the infestation pit. That's a great fight he's doing there. No, I didn't kill the infestation pit. So hopefully he'll be able to take up to the Hive again as soon as possible. But he hasn't started a lair. I don't know if it just hasn't clicked that he needs a lair or something like that. He's playing really risky if he's just opted to not get a lair, because then if his Great Aspire goes down, which is located here, then he's not going to be able to make Broodlords for several minutes. Quite a long time. Going for Infest is a really good choice, but I don't think he has enough ground army to start to warrant this tech up he has. Moving into a 6th, like a troll. I just don't have... Yeah, I have quite a few too many Stalkers for him to be making Broodlords at this point. I don't think they're going to be paying off. Absolutely not. That wasn't a very good trade for him. He sniped the Immortals that I had quite easily because I think I had my whole army selected when I was trying to snipe off those Broodlords, but it doesn't matter either way. I had far too much army at that point, so I'm going to easily be able to break through. Warping in some more units just to finish off the extra couple tech structures he had there. And his economy is just gutted. Doesn't have quite enough. And that will spell the end of the game. Hope you enjoyed that. I missed a few of the things that I wanted to point out, but it would suck if I had to go all the way back. That sort of ruins the flow of the game and shit. I hope, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.